Hello again, everyone. It's Mark here. I'm the founder of the Arts and Culture Network. We're a growing global community of over 150,000 now across our 8 LinkedIn groups. And as I often say, sadly, I don't get to meet everyone, but when I do, it's a delight. And Ben Barnes has joined me today. Ben is one of our recent new full members, for which many thanks, Ben. We're going to have some fun today. I'm going to let Ben tell you a little bit about himself and the work that he's doing and where he's based and his superpower and his powers we might learn about, which superpower and passions, that's right.
Okay.
And we share a lot in common across music, which is fantastic. And then we're going to have some fun. I'm going to create Ben's fantasy cultural year across a whole year from answers that I'm going to ask Ben, for which there are no questions, rather, I'm going to ask Ben, for which there are no wrong answers. So, Ben, does that sound like fun?
Sounds like fun. Let's
Great.
go.
So I'm going to pull your website up so people know where to find you. And
Which website is that?
I've got benjaminbarnes.com.
Okay, we'll stick with that one.
Okay, but meanwhile, why don't you say hi to everyone? Let us know where you're based and the work that you're doing.
Hi, my name is Benjamin Barnes. I go AKA Ben Casso because there are so many Benjamin Barneses in the world. There must be, I don't know, maybe 50 or 60, and there is a movie star who lives in Great Britain named Benjamin Barnes, and uh, it's a little hard to make any kind of noise for yourself if you don't have a unique name. But I named it after Picasso, so Ben Casso. It was a joke. I was opening up my uh, my art gallery, web gallery that shows the works of people with mental health challenges, and I myself have uh, I I manage schizoaffective disorder with bipolar tendencies, morbid depression, crippling anxiety, and PTSD and traumatic brain injury. My skull was shattered and reconstructed over about 7 years. And during that time, I couldn't play music. Uh, I I'm a violinist, classically trained, and I play classical jazz, bluegrass, and rock. And I'm also a guitar player, singer-songwriter. I started a nonprofit that uh, destigmatizes mental illness, and it's called Culture Scholar, and it's culturescholar.org, and it's an arts organization. We bring music, concerts, and uh, arts classes to mental health clinics and retirement homes. Uh, we're addressing the loneliness epidemic, which is a worldwide uh, disease. You can look it up in the American Medical Association journals, or JAMA, Journal of American Associations, uh, Medical Associations. Uh, so there's that. I play gigs. I teach. I've got over 120 recordings on all streaming platforms and major web stores. I used to be a rock star. I had a band called Deadweight. We did some national tours and the world. Uh, we uh, we were an electric violin, electric cello, drums, and vocals. I sang and played guitar. I mean, played violin. We were electric violin, and I have another band right now, Swindlefish. You can go to swindlefish.com, or you can go to uh, on benjaminbarnes.com. There's a discography, and you can go through that. And I was in a string quartet for a while. That we did 3 albums, and uh, let's see, we've got. Uh, I I am really working towards uh, getting the nonprofit to be financially sound. I want to build a staff, I've been doing a lot of grant writing, in 2023 I won the San Francisco Arts Commission uh, uh, San Francisco Artist Award, $20,000 grant, and I did a concert with that, uh, yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm doing.
And when do you sleep, Ben? Because that's enough to keep anyone busy. What's
Uh,
fascinating is I can already think of people in our community who you it would be great for you to meet. People working in that loneliness space, and people working at the convergence of art and mental well-being. So there'll be lots of people that I can put you in touch with, which would be
That'd be
great.
great. Yeah.
On behalf of all of the people you will have helped in your career, thank you very much for the work that you do, because there is a mounting evidence to suggest that engaging in creative and musical and artistic activities has a hugely beneficial impact on well-being. So I know from my own experience, I can't prove it, but I think music saved my life when I had a cancer diagnosis. So
Yeah.
and I'm a
I
percussionist.
forgot. I'm sorry. This is my autobiography. I wrote an autobiography, and it's on Amazon now. It's called Lucid Associations Jazz Automemorography of Music, Mischief, and Madness. Uh,
I love that.
it's uh, Lucid associations are a, a, a term that's in psychiatry, uh, and it's a part of a disorder that when people go into episodes, they jumble up their words and make loose connections with everything, and that seems very real to them. Uh, and so, lucid associations jazz is a kind of jazz that I've made up to emulate uh, what lucid associations is for a person in an episode.
Well,
So,
we shall make sure that there's a link to that book in the profile. So wherever this
oh,
appears,
thank you.
there'll be links
Yeah.
to you and all of the other social channels that you use, which is great. So Ben, thank you so much for that introduction. That sounds like an extremely worthwhile career in music, and that's great. So we're going to have some fun now, based on what you've just
Okay.
done. I'm going to create your fantasy cultural year. So roll with it. I have a magic wand, I have a time machine, and I have a Star Trek transporter at my disposal. So
Okay.
we can do anything we like together.
Sounds
Um,
good.
Sounds good. Yes. So in order to start that, I need to place you somewhere in the world. So I'm going to ask you for a favorite building anywhere in the world, one that you know and love, or one that you'd love to visit. Where are we
The
going?
Kremlin.
The
The
Kremlin.
Kremlin.
Brilliant. Armed to the teeth, no doubt. The okay, we're going to put you in the Kremlin. Now, I'd like you to imagine a world in which we're all getting on, okay?
Okay.
And there's no strife, there's no conflict. There's just an abiding love for music and the wonderful things that music
Yeah.
can do, and cross borders. And I'd like you to imagine you're sitting at a cafe in Red Square, um,
Okay.
uh, with the view of the Kremlin, and it's June, it's warm, it's sunny, it's 6 o'clock, 6 p.m., and there's a drink by your side. What would I find there?
Margarita.
A margarita in the Red
Oh,
Square.
and if we're in Russia, vodka cranberry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, perfect. Vodka cranberry, sitting there in the sunshine at a cafe, looking at the Kremlin in Red Square. Doesn't get any better. I love that. Now, there's also a book next to you, and with the exception of your book, which I'm sure is
Okay.
perfectly good, what book might I find there? I'd like to know about a book that's changed your life or been with you all your
A
life,
book
or
that's changed my the Heifetz biography. I can't remember what it's called. It's about Yasha Heifetz. He was my grand teacher. I took
oh,
lessons from his protege, and that really. I was in high school, and I was about to start studying with Sherry Kloss, his protege, and uh, uh, my teacher at the time, Marlon Carlson, was the Oregon State University professor of violin, and he gave me the book on Heifetz because I really didn't know anything about him. I just heard him play the Tchaikovsky violin concerto on a record, so I didn't know anything about him. But after I read that, it was uh, I got a real sense of what is why he was so important in the violin world. Uh, People even made jokes about him, like I'd say, well, he doesn't that he ain't no Heifetz, saying
Yeah.
that it was something that people would say to each other. Um,
Yeah, you've have hit the mark when people use that kind of phrase about you.
yeah,
Like you ain't no Kennedy. Yeah. Uh,
yeah,
that's great. Excellent. Okay. My brush with fame, I used to play in the percussion section of the English Symphony Orchestra, and
wow, yeah,
we did a recording of Peter and the Wolf, and Yehudi Menuhin was conducting,
nice,
and Christopher Lee was narrating. So that was a great experience. It's on
yeah,
it's on Spotify somewhere. I'll have to have a listen, see if I'm still there. It's still there.
that's
Anyway,
awesome.
okay, now you're feeling quite pleased with yourself because you've just come from a meeting inside the Kremlin, okay,
Okay,
with a wealthy Russian oligarch's representatives. Okay,
okay,
they like uncharacteristically, they like to invest in cross-border international research in the arts. Okay,
ah,
and they'd like to hire you for a year at great expense. Okay, first class all the way, to travel the world and create a kind of international league table of music and well-being.
yeah,
They'd like to know in which countries is that working the best, where the gaps are, so that they can then invest in the application of music and the arts to as part of a well-being policy. And so all you have, does that sound like fun?
yeah. And actually, I'm doing that. I've got music for mental health is the initiative
Yeah,
that I'm doing, and that's where we take music into retirement homes and mental health clinics, and hopefully soon start going to homeless shelters and just trying to bring therapeutic music to people who are struggling.
yeah.
But anyway, music for mental health. That's
Well, that's the
what we're
project.
doing.
Global Music for Mental Health. That's the project they're going
Yeah.
to fund. I have some experience of that. I used to teach the drums in a prison,
Oh
uh,
wow.
which was a real eye opener. It was great. And I saw with my own eyes how detached and liberated and free almost some of those people would
Right.
feel when they were immersing themselves in that groove, trying to make it work. Yeah, it's great. Okay, so all you need to do, so you've got the gig. Everything at home is going to be looked after. Friends and family can come and visit you while you're away on this trip.
Uh-huh.
There's a TV crew ready to follow you because they want a TV series out of this. There's a book deal in it. Um,
Oh wow.
there's a TED talk when you get home, and
Okay.
and then there's a global university lecture tour of all the music departments at top universities around the world to introduce those emerging professionals to the
I
concept.
think I'm gonna faint. This is just too good to be true.
I told you it's a fantasy cultural year.
Yeah.
Um, so you all you have to do is to decide where you're going to start. You can choose any city in any country in the world to start this process. Where are you going to go?
Hmm. I I would say I would like to see what it's like in Russia. So Moscow. That's where Heifetz was from too. It's like, so
Yeah. Okay, so you're on the plane, San Francisco. You turned left when you got on the plane because you're traveling first class. The steward brings you a margarita and a vodka. What was it?
vodka cranberry.
Vodka cranberry juice. Yeah, and a note from the Family Foundation back in Moscow. You're on your way there, but now they've challenged you they'd like to experiment a little bit on you while you're doing this, and they've challenged you to listen only to one very specific genre of music for 12 months, to the exclusion of all else. I know this is going to be very hard for a musician with your experience. It would be for me, but if you had to limit your listening that way to one very specific genre of music, what would you choose, Ben?
Well, I've got the choices of jazz, rock, bluegrass, and classical. And really, as a violinist, uh, I'm not a soloist, so if I were to choose bluegrass and really study up and put on some Kenny Baker and transcribe all this work, then I think I could get somewhere. But if I put on classical and just tried to play along, I can't play the Paganini caprices. I can only play the four Paganini caprices that mortal men can play, and so they're the four that I got taught by Sherry Kloss.
Okay, so bluegrass it is. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Now you arrive in Moscow. A group of young musicians have been detailed to help you settle in, and they take you to a beautiful loft apartment overlooking Red Square, and which you now know intimately. And they say, right, take some time, relax, unpack. We'll come back and get you a bit later. They want to take
I'm
you.
sure.
They
I'm
want to
sure they'll
take.
throw me in the gulag.
No, we're in this fantasy world of international cooperation now.
Okay. Yeah.
Excuse me. So they say we're going to come back and take you out to a dance performance, and then we're taking you out to dinner. And bear in mind, we have a time machine and a magic wand. So I can put any kind of dance-based performance on a stage in front of you. It could be a historic performance. It could be dancers who are no longer with us, or a dance group, any dance performance you like. What would you enjoy? You don't have to.
Baryshnikov.
Yeah, there we go. Well, there's a theme here. We've got a theme here. Mikhail Baryshnikov, and who shall we have with him? Her name escapes me. She lived in one of my hometowns, and they danced together a lot. Mikhail Baryshnikov, and it'll come. Okay. And is there a ballet you'd particularly like to watch?
Uh, well, there was a movie called White Nights with Baryshnikov and another actor. I can't remember. He's
Mm.
African American. And Baryshnikov does this dance where he's walking on the backs of his feet, and
Yeah,
he's jumping up and down on that. I'd like to see that for real. Like there's somebody
I can do
just that
that.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it would be Margot Fonteyn. I think he danced a lot with Margot Fonteyn, the
Oh
English ballet
yeah.
dancer. So that's great. So we've had that experience. Now you're going out to dinner with these young musicians, and Moscow has cuisine from every country in it. So what would be your national cuisine of choice?
Well, my mom came from the Philippines, so I would say some adobo, Filipino food, but I don't think they have that in Russia.
In our fantasy world, they do.
Okay.
So that's great. Now, we're going to buzz again to a different city in a different country for your induction period. So
Oh,
where
yeah.
would you like to go? Anywhere in the world, based on our creating our league table of music for mental health.
Uh, well, hmm, I would really like to see. Uh, uh, well, I would have to go. I played in Japan a couple times, and just that whole Tokyo, the Shinjuku, is that
Yeah,
with all the arcades and
yeah.
the music, and uh, I I think I'd like to be in Tokyo.
Okay, we're in Tokyo. You have a beautiful apartment overlooking a cherry blossom orchard with a temple behind it.
Yeah.
And it's sport day in Japan. Now, some sport constitutes performance art because we had breakdancing in the Olympics in France
Oh,
last
really?
year. Yeah, so I'm going to give you a 2-hour sporting event. What would you like to see? It doesn't have to be Japanese culture because I've got a magic wand and a time
Okay.
machine. What sport would you
Well,
enjoy
I
watching?
would like to see jujitsu, the dance martial arts,
Okay. It just so happens that the World Championships,
Brazil.
the
Yeah.
World Jiu-Jitsu Championships um are in Tokyo. So that's what we'll do. Excellent. Now let's buzz again. Let's go to a different city and a different country.
Yeah. Um, I, I would like to go to Sao Paulo.
Sao Paulo. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right. So we're in Sao Paulo in Brazil, and there is a new digital art gallery in Sao Paulo in which you can put on a virtual reality headset and you can step into the work of a famous artist. It becomes animated, it becomes three-dimensional, 360 degrees, and you can see in 3 dimensions what the artist couldn't show us in two. So
Salvador Dali.
Dali, excellent.
Yeah.
Salvador Dali, you can stand under the dripping clock and
Yeah.
walk around it. Wonderful. Love that. Now I'm going to whisk you back to London and you and I are spending a week together. Okay.
Uh,
On Monday, we're going to a historic pop or rock concert with our time machine. On Tuesday, we're going to the theatre for a play. On Wednesday, we're going to a Broadway or West End musical. On Thursday, we're going to go to the opera. And on Friday, it's movie night. And between us, we can decide what we're going to watch and see.
wow.
So if I gave you a time machine and you could go back to any concert you've been to or one that you missed and now regret, what would you like to go to?
I would like to be on the stage in front of 50,000 people at the Fuji Rock Festival again.
When was that?
2000.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Standing on the stage in front of 50,000 people.
Playing. Yeah.
Playing. Fantastic.
Yeah.
There we are. I'm in the audience. There we go. Actually, no, I'm playing the drums behind you.
Oh, yeah.
What about a theatre play? Now we're in London now, so we could go to the Globe for some Shakespeare, or we could go up to Shaftesbury Avenue for a play. Is there a play you'd particularly like to see?
Um, what's the name of the great physicist? He can't move or walk, and well, he died, but he could only speak through a, a computer. Uh, what was his name? Because I would like to see that
Was it
play.
the scientist? Was he?
Yeah, the scientist. I can't
Yeah.
remember what his name is at the moment.
Oh, I saw him once. I was punting on a boat in Cambridge, and he was crossing the bridge at Cambridge
Yeah,
University. Oh, now it'll come. And they made a movie about him with Eddie Redmayne, didn't they? Um, David
yeah,
Hawking, Hawking,
yeah. Stephen
yeah,
Hawking.
Stephen
Stephen Hawking.
Hawking. That's it. Oh,
Yeah,
what a great choice! That's a wonderful choice. So that's our play for Tuesday.
yeah.
What about a West End or a Broadway musical? Again, we can go back in time if we want.
Oh, uh, uh, West Side, East Side. What's the Bernstein one?
West Side
I Want to
Story.
Live in America. West Side Story. Yeah,
West Side Story. Okay, well, you and I are going back in time to the opening night of that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was
This sounds
very
good.
lucky when I was at college. Bernstein came and conducted our symphony orchestra
Wow,
in the 80s, and I was on Timps. That was great.
nice.
We did a performance. We did a performance of his mass, which
Were you nervous at all
yeah,
playing?
yeah, got to shake his hand afterwards, which was a pleasure.
Yeah,
Excellent. Are you an opera fan, Ben?
I'm not.
Okay, shall we go to see Tosca by Puccini at the Royal Opera
Um,
House?
no, no, The Ring.
The rings,
3 day,
yeah,
4 days of The Ring.
4 days of the Ring. Yeah, that was it. The joke, wasn't there? I've been to a Wagner opera. Um, it started at 5 o'clock. 6 hours later, I looked at my watch and it was only 5:30. Yeah, we can go and why don't we go to Glyndebourne on the south coast of England and we'll do the whole ring cycle. There we go.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fantastic. Um,
while I'm there, I've got to see the London Symphony.
okay.
And in fact, I've been hired for a gig as an actor. I'm going to play violin, and then I'm going to play somebody that it's a murder party, and I'm the murderer. And I I went to I was playing in the London Symphony, and the auditions came up for the concertmaster, and uh, I sabotaged all the other violinists' bows so they couldn't play, and so I won the audition. And then there's one guy that ratted me out, uh, and he was my friend. So uh, I I had to get this revenge for him. So I kill him at the party, and they all have clues to find out
That
who
sounds
did it. And
fantastic. I love that idea. That's a
yeah,
great idea. It reminds me of an event that I helped organize once, a very wealthy guy in London. He invited um, 10 couples to dinner, and they all knew him, but
yeah,
none of them had ever met each other.
well,
One of those couples was a plant. They were actors. They,
ah,
they'd been briefed on the host, and
yeah,
task of the other guests was to try and work because they'd never met each other before. He stood up at the
uh,
beginning of dinner and he said, "It's lovely to have you all here. I'm afraid two people here are imposters. They're actors. Your job over dinner is to try and decide who that is."
ah,
It was great, really good.
yeah.
Excellent. So we've done the opera. Now, film night. Um, I wonder if you could think of a film that you love that I probably haven't seen.
Oh, that you haven't seen. I was just going to say Russell Crowe should have won the Oscar for A Beautiful Mind, but think of it another one. You've probably seen From Out of Mozart.
From
From Out of Mozart.
I haven't
It's
seen
about
From Now to
Isaac
Mozart.
Stern. Isaac Stern goes to China right at the end of the detente between, uh, you know, they're allowing Western culture to come into their country,
Yeah,
the Chinese, and Isaac Stern travels to there to see what all the violinists are doing, and uh, uh, and he gives master classes, and it's called From Out of Mozart, and it's I I always say From Out of Mozart when I am
that
asked about
sounds,
that, or Russell Crowe should have won the Oscar
yeah. From Now
for
to
A Beautiful
Mozart.
Mind.
From Mao to Mozart, not
Yeah,
now.
Mao.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isaac Stern in China, 1979. Sounds like a Nixon period. Um,
yeah,
Follows Ukrainian American violinist Isaac Stern, who in 1979 made an unprecedented tour of China, the first such tour by a Western musician in a country still reeling from the effects of the Cultural Revolution. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where it's available, but it's yeah,
Is it on Netflix?
it might, well, I'm not sure. It doesn't say. Oh, you can get it on Amazon, but I think that's as a DVD, perhaps. I'm not sure. From Mao to Mozart, MAO to Mozart. That's got to be worth a watch. I'm going to have to try and find that
Yeah.
afterwards. Thank you for that.
All
Now we're
right.
nearly there. We're nearly there in our induction period, and I'm going to send you off all around the world to do this research study. But before you go, I'm going to give you a hero lunch. We're probably still in London. We found a really excellent Filipino restaurant in London, and
Well, we're
you
in
can
London. I got to get fish and chips, and I'm just gonna mix
okay,
the Filipino.
you can get fish and chips as well. We'll do fish and chips. There is a lovely place called Gabriel's Wharf on the River Thames near the South Bank Centre, and they've got a wonderful fish and chip shop there. So
Oh, great.
we'll be there. Now you can invite anyone you like to join you, one person, living or not, famous or otherwise, for a leisurely 2-hour lunch so that you can pick their brains. Who would you
Mm,
choose?
I really have to think about this one. Well, my first uh, inclination is to try and think of the most beautiful woman that walks the earth, uh, like who. I can't even say their names. They're so beautiful. But okay, okay. Uh, um, is there Betty Page?
Betty Page. What a great choice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It would be nice if Helena Christensen was there for me.
Oh yeah.
Um, that's great. Betty Page. Now, in a slight twist to that question, who do you think Betty Page would invite?
uh, and she uh, who's the guy that was he died in a car wreck? Uh, is
James
he
Dean?
looked James Dean? Yeah, that's who
There,
she'd
there we
invite.
go. Yeah, so
Yeah,
you're at lunch with James Dean and Betty Page. That would be a lunch.
yeah,
That really would. There you go, Ben. That's your
yeah.
fantasy cultural year. Have you enjoyed it?
That's awesome. And very much.
Well, wherever this appears, there'll be a profile about you with links to your work and to the book and to culture scholars and all of the work, the great work that you're doing. And please don't rush off, but for the time being, thank you so much for being a good sport and doing this. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thanks
Well, thank
again
you.
thanks again for being one of our full members.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna send some people to see this and tell them about your culture network.
That's very
Yeah.
kind, Ben. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.